Well, folks, I sound like a broken record, but I'll say it again because it's true, and because my event horizon doesn't allow for much. I can't think of anything in particular. It's fairly calm today. Not any fun. When I write that check to your stooge, I'll have $12 in the bank, and that's all I'll have. And this has been going on for months and months. Yeah, I bought a month before last. I happened to have some money and bought the new espresso machine, and also bought a canister of grounds, to use. But basically, other than that, for example, now I'm faced with $12 for the rest of the month. After that's assuming that they're able to activate the account and so on. They're not. Your stooge will ask for money, and on the Connell's show, he exemplified the kind of people who are actually hands-on and deserve pink slips. The con men, the people who traffic in lies. I heard some again today on that program, and several others today. People dutifully had on their shows people who are running a scam that ought to end. The same scam that has doctors who meet the first time, like they did the other day in the pulmonary clinic. I said, I know what you need, but I can't help you. Their message can't be, I know you're in the hands of con men, so I can't do anything. You see, one man told me his practice would have been ruined if he lifted a finger. And others have basically said the same thing. And when I meet new people today, a perfectly nice guy, but it was business as usual according to plan. And but since then, and some things I've posted as a result, sort of following up on that, some stuff that I've done several times before, I had to say to Alex, well, this is new, this may or may not be new to you. I don't know how informed people are at Oxford into the creepy details. But, folks, what the fast track is. The people that are vetted at the best universities worldwide know more about things than the creeps that I'm talking about. And it's not because they have, more money to throw at the school. The school looks for people they can trust. Why? Well, there's a reason for that. The world needs people who know what's going on. Anyway, you've heard all that before. What I'm saying is, several things have happened, and now all day today, people have brought forward some specimens of, the Cleveland and Mitchell show that will not stop. That won't stop until somebody stops it. And people who want to inveigle their way into representing me as part of the status quo? I don't need a billionaire or a trillionaire or a mere millionaire inveigling in to represent me, especially if I know he can't. Especially if we just don't happen to agree. I have no axe to grind. Let me say that again. I have no axe to grind as far as with people with whom I disagree. But that it doesn't follow that I nevertheless want to be represented by people who, could only say what they think or try to remember what I've said, or that's not economic success, Do I feel uncomfortable about that fact? You betcha I do. You betcha I do. But people who are smart enough to try that also know that if I'm speaking the truth, it's not because of an axe to grind. It's just like there was recently, for some reason, a feature on Miss Jane, you know, the secretary in the Beverly Hills TV series. Miss Jane and Clappett, you know, those are the stage names of two people. Those two people did well on the stage. They had to. They did a job. But off stage, they disagreed about politics. In fact, Miss Jane, I forgot her name offhand, ended up going back home to Pennsylvania, and in her 60s, she ran for elective office. She wanted to be the congresswoman from some part of Pennsylvania in the U.S. House of Representatives. She did not win, and there was bad blood between her and Ed Clappett, whatever, you know, the granddad of the show, because he was of the opposite party, and actually taped a message saying, "Don't vote for her, she's liberal." And what's her name said, you know, that was like a stake in the heart, you know, and she felt real bad about it. It wasn't until many years later that they reconciled, and he said, well, maybe that wasn't fair to do, you know. I don't know. I mean, if people disagree politically, I'm not sure that you know, they have to withhold, you know, from saying so. Yet in this situation I'm in, I feel kind of that same way, you know. It just so happens we agree on some things and not on others. But, you know, I think we would agree on a lot of things having to do with what I'm talking about. But then if we got into things like, you know, philosophical questions, you know, metaphysics, the metaphysics of the marketplace, I don't know, you know, that's meant to be sardonic. You know, there are things that we disagree about, and I don't claim any standing. You know, if you have money in the bank, then you know money talks. I have no money, so maybe I should shut up, except that it doesn't matter. So I can say, you know, I think, for example, I watched a young guy talk about getting accepted at several business schools and rejected by a few others. And I had to ask, why didn't you apply for Wharton? And then I answered the question this way myself. It's because maybe Wharton has been overrated lately. And certainly the gentleman that I had talked about just a moment ago probably disagrees with the main thing that Wharton Business School is famous for. Actually, there are a few, not one. Because, you know, I've heard him on the subject. Coincidentally, I didn't mean to put that together, but it just happened. But anyway, he couldn't answer the question about, you know, why not Wharton, except that he wanted to go to Illinois, I think. They had an honors program or something. He didn't get in. He said that they only admit 40 per year. And I felt like saying, well, you know, in terms of networking, I bet that works out really well. But in terms of the, you know, schools, that's what they're for. They're for networking and being, shall we say, evaluated for the implementation of options according to what networking there might be, and there has been a lot in these schools. But you see, it just so happens, you know, Wharton is a very well respected business school, but I think from the get-go, a lot of people said, well, now, you know, their advice is highly questionable. and given a lot of credence. But there are those, and I think I'm not sure that I'm among them, but I can understand that people say, well, you see, if we had tried this, that, and the other, we think it would have been better than what they had been telling people to do that did work, after a fashion. And I have ended up saying, well, you might be right about that. Well, now, of course, there is objective proof that Wharton had some good ideas way back when, and they still work. But it's now proven, lo and behold, that these other people had some ideas that also work. Since the days when nothing was being done a certain way, people have started doing some things in several different ways. And so that means, obviously, we can conclude that Wharton is not the only game in town in terms of reputation. Well, anyway, this young, bright kid, I say kid, he was fully grown, ended up going, I can't remember, went somewhere, but it wasn't his first choice, anyway. But it was terrific. He got accepted at several, and of the several he chose, well, I can't remember what it was, but he never even applied to Wharton. Is that because they are exclusive? Well, of course they are exclusive, and I think they admit more people. It's a bigger school, but they get more applications than Illinois, or at least in the past they did. But maybe, well, I'm going to spill a few beans. I say I never spill beans. I don't spill many beans. I'll spill a little bit and say a few people are wondering if there isn't a better way to run the railroad. Literally. Are there better ways to run the railroads than according to rules or axioms that Wharton is known for? That is to say, I'm not sure that Wharton is known for running regulated monopolies. Well, of course, a lot of people say, well, now you're just one short step away from that. If people follow your rules, people come close to being regulated. Well, that's a matter of opinion. But anyway, it's a fun thing. It's fun. Business is fun. Yeah. Well, people say, that economics is a dismal science. Well, I could say it's dismal, the way I've been treated. But I have to say, the poor, and that is to say the engine on the sidewalk, are told it's their own damn fault. What would people tell me? Well, they won't tell me much. They just, it's like veterinary medicine that is way, way broken down. They jerk me around as if I have no brain at all, because that's the way I'm going to be treated by people who get away with that. And I'm telling you, all day today, people are showing me the results of the last few days, and I was telling people, please just don't bother me with all that. I've been through it so many times, and it's disingenuous on the part of many, and wishful thinking on the part of some, and a deliberate con by some others. And people say, "Oh, we wish we could help," or something like. Okay, well then, do what you used to do, and like some do. How is it? I'd like to know. How is it that dairymen seem to be on top? Is it because they both get to shovel manure and milk cows? And everybody's agreed that combines wonderfully with saying nothing at all, but working hard and, doing a good job? Would it be so toxic if somebody, I don't know, I can't even remember, a talk show. What if there were talk shows that did not harangue the way I expect. And what do I expect? Well, I don't have to say. People already know that. But I'm way at the bottom, way down in terms of echelons. One way to tell is the advertising you shove at me. I'm not going to really say much. Some people got into one particular thing about how stupid I am because I never say anything. But at least one person involved knows that there's no reason for me to proclaim anything or try to mount some sort of protest, of anything. There are as I say, there are people who, like Andrew, who, tore apart a pickup truck or almost did. In Alaska, somebody was banging around in a torn up Toyota, proving that Toyotas are pretty tough. And then Andrew, also in New York, decided to use one of his big machines to crush several old cars by running over them with, I forgot what he used, some track vehicle, probably one of those, I don't remember. He's got many to choose from. Because of the way I'm treated, Well, that's fine, except that, I don't enjoy that in the sense that I know it won't do any good. So it seems like what a wonderful effort. Does he know it won't make a difference? I do. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. For the first time, something is going to work. All he was saying is these people around me are running a chop shop, you might say. Or anything you want to say. It's criminal, but your religion allows for a terrible free pass, like you always have provided. And I've learned that that's what you prefer, that you lie about what you prefer. Now, about this particular recording, 17 minutes and counting, according to the little counter on the monitor here. What I'm saying applies only to the people whose I say, if the shoe fits, wear it. There may be people who sincerely believe that I'm trying to get them to fit into a shoe, the wrong Cinderella shoe, or the old woman in the shoe, or what. Some storyline, I'm not. If the shoe fits, wear it. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you don't know. Oh, and that reminds me of something else that people don't really believe. I used to be skinny, and never mind why I'm not. But now it's completely literal to say that Humpty Dumpty, a big fat blob like me, sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. That's so true. And I guess what I'm saying is, well, I guess there would be people who would take that and turn it into a 30-minute discussion that would boil down to that. And maybe I might not fall asleep. Maybe I would pay attention, and then I could say, is that all? That's all you had to say? And a lot of people say, yes, we can't talk to you about anything else. Nobody's supposed to. It's the same idea as by having no money, no food, no clothes, and so on and so forth. That's the agreement. And people come in, check in to tell me, oh, that's not the agreement. And having said that, they move on with their lives. Well, somebody else chimes in to say that that's not the agreement, when it is. That's like, what I do is basically, involuntary servitude, and people say, no, that's not what it is. Okay, what is it?